Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. This is part 2 in our plant room installation. So if you haven't done yet, make sure to check out part 1 first. So let's get into it. Okay, so we finished off part 1 when we were just about to get these cylinders installed. So as you can see, we're pretty much piped up now. So we are installing 2 150 litre unvented cylinders. The reason for that is there's only going to be a few people living here most of the time, so we don't actually want to heat up 300 litres of water in total. So when needed, they will be able to heat them both up at the same time. So we've tried to keep the pipe work obviously as neat as we possibly can, but there is quite a lot going on here. So we've got our 2 multifunctional valves there, piped up side by side, and then as you can see, the hot water draw off, they actually come up and then join in together. So what we'll actually do, we'll isolate one when it's not in use and just operate one at the time. So coming through here, we're just dropping down, we've got our PRVs, etc. Temperature relief valves coming off. So the reason we've gone for these particular cylinders is because they have internal thermal expansion. So there's no possible water expansion vessel needed to be installed, although if your volume of water is huge, you may need to add an additional one, but we should be fine, hopefully. So coming along down here, as well as installing the cylinders, we've put in the high temperature relief pump. So because we're in a basement and we've got the pressure and temperature relief valves, obviously we can't terminate them straight to outside because we're below ground level, but this is a high temperature relief pump, and that will pump it up through this 15mm pipe and just discharge it safely outside. So that's pretty much where we're at. We're pretty much fully piped up with it now. So we've got a condense pump in there for the boiler. The boiler flue, we've just stuck 1 metre or 2 metres in for now, just to make sure that we are parallel between the joists and we're going straight up into the boxing. The other thing we've added is we've got our temperature and pressure gauges on our flow and return to our 2 heating circuits, so if needs be we can monitor the temperature and balance them out correctly. So yeah, all the controls, expansion vessel, everything is all in now, all piped up, it's looking lovely. Bailey is at the moment just setting up a temporary water main so we can actually fill this all up and check it. So at the moment it's totally empty, but confident it's all going to be okay. So the DAB tank that's in, so I'll run through with you how to install that. It's pretty self-explanatory, it's quite simple. But yeah, all of the main copper work, all the pipe work on the rails is all done. And after the electrics, we can start running pipe work throughout the house. So I'm really happy how this has turned out. Right, moving on to the DAB ESYBOX. Now, this is the pump that sits on top of the brake tank. So this blue DAB ESYTANK. Now, on the bottom of the pump itself, you've got these like flat-headed washers, which you need to take out. They're pretty much like blanking caps. So if you remove them too, then over here on the docking station, you'll see we've got these 2 fittings here. So basically they just pull off. They're just blanking caps to protect it. And then this housing unit here, that can come off. Now inside here, you'll have some instructions and some washers. We've just removed them. So what you need to do is remove this front panel here. Let me just turn that quickly. And what that does is, oh, they're gone forever. It allows you to slide out this key here. So what you do is you'll take these off here. They just pull off. Oh yeah, there you go. Pull the key out more. They pull off and then they'll go into the bottom of the pump. Once they're secured on the bottom of the pump itself, the pump will literally just sit back on like so, and then when it's in location, this key is what secures the pump to the dock. Slide that in and then you can put this front panel back on the front here. So One thing you got to remember is once you're all ready to go and the tank's full up, you need to prime the pump itself. So in the top of the pump, there's like a accessible area where you can actually like prime it by pouring some water in it, basically, just so you're not running it dry. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. It's pretty simple. So yeah, let's get it on. Right, here we go then. So you are watching this as we are filling it up for the first time, so you can be witness to any leaks that may appear. Now, in all honesty, the only thing I'm really concerned about is the 35mm soldering. I don't often do 35mm soldering. Oh, I only shut the water off, so something must be wrong. What are we saying?
Where's that air coming from?
I'm not too sure.
Should be air coming out of.
It might be this drain off here, because I put that one in and didn't tighten it up. Yeah, I think it's that one there, Bailey. That's my fault. Well, there's no monsoon's worth of water yet, so we're doing all right. Let's go for it. That's better. It was definitely that drain off, wasn't it? Okay, so we're actually not filling up the DAB tank at the moment. We're just bypassing that. Obviously, there's no real need to fill it up at this stage. We are literally just testing all the pipe work. We don't really need the tank to be full. It's not actually going to be in use as of yet. Yeah, I do shut those isolation valves, otherwise we'd be flooding upstairs. So I'll just double check. So obviously, I don't know about you guys, but whenever you fill a system up, it is a bit nerve-wracking, but we're okay here because we are in a basement. It's not the end of the world if we have a leak, but like I say, it is a rarity. It is a rarity we get a leak, but you never know. Like I say, 35mm soldering I'm slightly sceptical of, but we won't know that until I fill up the central heating. So we are just doing hot and colds at the moment. We'll get them done and then we'll move on to the central heating. Okay, so we are still filling. Obviously these are going to take a little while to fill up. For those eagle-eyed viewers, you may have wondered why we are installing pre-plumb cylinders that aren't pre-plumb. So the main reason being is they were actually on sale a little bit cheaper than just the standard cylinder. So they're exactly the same, other than they came with all the accessories, so additional pumps, zone valves, etc., which obviously we can use on a different job. But that's also part of the reason why we've got two different manufacturers of zone valves. But yeah, it's worth shopping around because you can find a deal on these cylinders. So these are honestly very expensive, but compared to the Megaflow, which is the other brand I would say that has the built-in thermal expansion, they are a bit cheaper. So my experience with them has always been good. So yeah, happy to install them. There is actually probably a bit of a benefit, not that you'd probably use it, but although we've stripped out all the pre-plumb section, you actually get an additional wiring centre on both cylinders. So if you really wanted to, you could chuck a load of cables in there. So obviously we've got the Navion boiler going in here, so we are going to be using the Navion controls, which will go to the wireless wiring centre, which we'll run through. Get it on the wall. So we like to do that part of it ourselves because it is a bit foreign to most electricians. Obviously, you know, a lot of people aren't used to Navion as it is, let alone all the electronic side of things. Just been informed to tell you that we are clipping the flue. Don't have a panic attack. Okay. So okay, hot and cold is all filled up now, and so far so good. So probably just jinxed it now. Let's move on to the heating. Let's get this filled up. So we try to locate the filling valve, you know, obviously, so it's accessible for our customers as well as ourselves. So it's pretty much smack bang in the middle. Oh, I can hear something. No, panicking. Oh yeah, that says 3 bar, Bailey. Right, here we go. Now, I am responsible for most of the pipework, I would say. Bailey had to visit the doctors. Okay, so A lot of soldered joints here. Obviously a lot of bends as well, so we've saved a lot of fittings. We have got all this off, so past this point here.
It's fine, carry on.
Oh.
I've turned the cylinder off.
Ah, okay, you've turned the cylinder off. Okay. I thought you was panicking because there was a huge leak. Right.
Oh, hang on, I know what's a bit real. So that shuts the balance code.
Ah,
It can't stay
okay.
around, innit?
So we've made a slight error. We've plumbed it in so the balance code has to be live for it to fill up the central heating, so we'll have to maybe address that. So, it will be okay under normal circumstances, it's just because we've turned the cylinders off. But is it back on now? Yes, on. Right, let's go. Go. Filling her up. Can't hear the deaerator going. It's probably because it's flying out of an open end somewhere. Just check down the side of the boiler. No, it should be all good. Probably filling up the monster 35 litre expansion vessel that we've got. So what we have done, which is slightly different, is we're starting to install these IMI air admittance valves because I have so many problems with the standard ones you get from the plumbing merchants. I've tried to upgrade, go for something a little bit better. So obviously at this point we're not adding any chemicals or anything. This is the first time we're filling up. Obviously we've got a dosing point here for when we need to. Seems alright so far. I'm not showing any pressure, but there's a lot of water rushing through. So you can normally tell when there's a problem when you've got water filling up your socks. So, anyway, let's put the camera down. Give it a few more minutes. Okay, so we have fully pressurised it now. I've not seen one single leak. Touch this wood. I'm not showing off. I'm actually surprised myself. So yeah, good job. So what we're going to do now is we'll probably start looking at where we're going to start mounting the electric parts. Now you can see we've obviously saved quite a lot of room here for that to be done, and also we just need to level the boiler slightly. Probably can't see it on camera, but it's leaning slightly to the right. Like I say, we can't really get the boiler operational to the flues in, but sometimes it's worthwhile just wiring the pumps if you can get it circulating. But again, we need to hot test this as soon as we possibly can. But yeah, let's get the electrics on the wall and make that look pretty. Okay, so when you are wiring in this Navion wireless control unit, you can see that you don't need the orange and brown wire from the zone valve. So if I move those Wacos out of the way. So you can see here it's pretty simple. It pretty much tells you where everything needs to go. Obviously 240 volts input, don't worry, it's not live. We've got our central heating zone 1, central heating zone 2, hot water zone valve, and then the external pump which we are putting into zone 3. That there is for our cylinder stat. So at the moment we're only wiring in one cylinder to it. Now that's pretty much the same for most smart systems. You can only connect up one cylinder. So what we might have to do to ensure that the second cylinder gets hot is actually add an additional pump here and then just create like a mini wiring center for that and just wire it directly into the boiler, so the customer will still be able to control the main cylinder, the priority cylinder, via their app and via the you know, the Navion stats. But at the moment we're not too sure. We were scratching our head with it. I was spoken to Navion, see if there is a way that we can do that, but it's looking like we might have to have an additional pump over here with its own programmer. So it's not the end of the world, that's what I thought would happen. So yeah, but as you can see, it's nice and simple. Yeah, no problems at all. A lot easier than just a standard S plan, I would say. So obviously we're going to tidy up all these cables, just getting in there a bit loose for now. But yeah, all good. So as you can see, Bailey has made access to the floor above. All these pipes here are going to start being teed across for our first floor, ground floor run, shall I say. And then from that point, we're going to continue up all the way up there and then through to the first floor.